Hey, it's Luke here, and this is my 2007 Volvo V70, which I'm sure if you're a viewer of the channel, you're very familiar with already. Now, this was originally bought for the Running Down a Dream series, but after becoming a lockdown project and me spending so much time cleaning it up and then also looking through all the service history and the amount of jobs this car's had done to it, I decided to keep it for myself. It was just a better car than my 2006 A4 at the time, and the E6 went. That kind of got transferred into the Running Down a Dream series. This became driver, and I've been driving it for the last 2 or 3 months. Now, when I bought the car, in the first episode I introduced this, I did state there was a few problems with it, and they have been fixed. So in this video, I kind of want to go over exactly what problems I faced with this car, how much it's cost to get the car back on the road, and I just basically want to give you my general feelings of how this car's performed so far. Now, this is not an owner's review. I will have one of them coming soon, so I'm not going to kind of be talking about the speed and handling and practicality. That will be for a separate video. I just kind of specifically want to talk about this specific car. Now, when I picked this car up, it had 2 pretty big faults, which was why the car was so cheap. Now, I paid £550 for this car originally, but it did have a faulty steering rack and a message for the DPF filter saying it was clogged. And I've fixed both of those problems, and overall it wasn't as much of a hassle as I thought it would be. Let's start off with the DPF, because that was quite a happy little story, which wasn't as big as I thought it'd be. So when I was driving the car, there was this noise of air coming out of it when it was on boost. It wasn't quite a turbo whistle, it was more like air escaping, and the car appeared to be in limp mode. It took a long time to get to 70 miles an hour. When I got the car up on a ramp and I looked underneath, there's a pipe, big plastic pipe, runs from the intercooler, and that had been smashed off and duct taped back together, and it was very loose, and I think a load of air was just escaping out of it. I'm theorising that the car went into limp mode, and because it's been in limp mode for a while, it didn't go into the DPF regen, and hence the message came up on the dash. As soon as that pipe was fixed, the message went. So that cost around £40 for the pipe, for a replacement, used one that was in good condition. Now, the second fault was the steering rack. It was just leaking fluid absolutely everywhere. You'd get about 5 miles, filling the reservoir up to the top, and then it just all leak out. I tried using stop leak in it. That didn't help. It just ended up all over my drive. So a new steering rack was in order as well. So in order to get everything done, including the DPF, the intercooler pipe, it cost around £300. That was for parts and labour. So that was a new steering rack, the pipe, the labour, more power steering fluid, and having the wheels aligned. So that 550 quid Volvo now stood me about 850. Needed an MOT after that, so looking about 900 quid all in to get the car on a road in roadworthy condition, which I think for a car like this, with the specification and condition of it, is very reasonable, to be honest, and made up with how the car's performing. That being said, it is still 13 years old, it's still got 180,000 miles on it, it's still got a few little faults. One of them seems to be with the turbo. Not big faults, the car is running so smooth, the engine is really sweet, but it doesn't seem to boost quite like I'd expect it to in the low down, the low down in the rev range. When you really want to rev it and redline it, the car takes off exactly as it's meant to do. It feels like the 183 horses are working just as hard as they should. But this is more like when you're just trying to keep up with normal traffic. There seems to be quite a bit of turbo lag. And that does surprise me on a car like this, because 183 horsepower on a 2.4 litre engine, it's not that much power really, it's adequate. But it's no more powerful per litre than my 140 horsepower 2 litre Audi A4 before this, and that was far more responsive. So I've got a feeling maybe something like the vanes on the turbos are a little bit seized or something, and maybe just needs a bit of a clean out, and hopefully the responsiveness will just be a little bit better. And I really discovered there was a problem when I was driving my V70 I bought to sell, which was kind of briefly featured a couple of videos back, and I found that 1.6 HDI to be quicker than this in normal traffic, and that shouldn't be happening. But the car's still driving pretty well overall. One other fault the car's got is the door speakers down here on both sides of the front are blown, which is not a massive problem in itself, although I do want to enjoy the nice sound system in the car. But it's just really hard to get speakers for, because this has the upgraded sound system. It's got 8-inch speakers rather than 6, and they're just not that easy to find at the moment. So I'm just going to have to wait until the right speakers come up. I've tested all the amplifier and everything, that's all working fine. It's definitely a fault with the speakers. The biggest fault at the moment, though, that's really bugging me is to do with the fuel tank and the fuel gauge. 2 separate faults, but they're playing off each other, and it's just frustrating me. First thing is, there seems to be a leak in the fuel tank. Don't know why, but when I fill a tank to the top and I brake, fuel comes out. Now, once the car gets about 2/3 full, it's fine. But once it's got full tank in, fuel spills out of the car when I brake. Now, not enough to send a motorcyclist into a lamppost, but enough to drop my MPG by a couple. Wouldn't be a problem too much for the time being, because, I just feel it 2/3 full, but my fuel gauge doesn't work either. I think that's down to the fuel sender. I think they're completely unrelated, but the only way I can ensure that I'm not going to run out of fuel is to fill the car to the top and refill it every 300 miles. But when I do that, of course, all the fuel comes out. So I'm going to have to try and get a new fuel sender in first, and then run it about half tank, and then try and get the tank sorted out at a later date. Apart from that, it's all good. But it's not a simple car. So, in the grand scheme of a luxury car this age, the problems could be worse, and it could be a lot more expensive to fix. Now, I do want your opinion on what to do with certain elements of this car visually. Now, I'm not sure what I make of the chrome rub strips at the front. I'm thinking that maybe these should just be colour-coded to the car, like the sport models have, just dechrome it slightly, keep the chrome in the middle of the badge. And I'm thinking maybe anodized aluminium for the mirrors, just kind of match the wheels. And again, at the back where there's rub strips, I'm thinking of just, again, making that body coloured. Let me know what you think of that in the comment section below. Anyway, there is the updates on the Volvo V70 at the moment, and I will be doing more videos on this car in the future, so I'll be going over the modifications I've done once I've done a few more. There is stuff I've done to this car which I've not shown yet, and yeah, I'll be doing an owner's review as well in the near future of just what this car is like to live with on a daily basis. So if you want to see that stuff, of course, hit that like button, subscribe, etc. Leave a comment below, and of course, hit that bell notification icon to be alerted when those videos drop in the future. But until then, as always, thank you very much for watching, see you soon, and take care.